So now the last presentation before we start with the panel session. It's from Laetitia Mariani from Abbvie, one of the sponsoring and supportive companies. She's a director of market access in the global context. She has a Master of Health Policy, and she is presenting on behalf of Abbvie, but also on behalf of all the supporting, sponsoring companies. Thanks, Laetitia, for being with us.
Thank you, Jörg. Good afternoon, everybody. My talk is about balancing flexibility and predictability, and the way that I thought that could be of interest for you today is to show you how a company like Abbvie prepares for the new HTA regulation, and how this concept of having visibility around flexibility and predictability is of high importance. So at Abbvie, we are committed for the success of this new framework, and we prepare very seriously our organization by adapting our internal processes and organization to the new framework. We have designed an important project pilot aiming at simulating the full development of a dossier, playing with, obviously, the guidance that is available today. So we put together a large team with the key function partners that we believe will be the function very much involved for this future process. We had a representation from global, regional, but also country teams. And the first, we'll say the first question that the pilot team had was how many and which countries we should be selected in this pilot, thinking about, obviously, the future process. Actually, we found that having a mix between mix of larger and smaller affiliates with different market characteristics and archetypes will correspond to a good representation of the European landscape. So we came with 8 European affiliates. The project actually has been organized around 3 phases. The first one, the team found that we should have a good understanding of our current approach of preparing, supporting a national dossier, not just at national level, but making the link with what is happening up front at global, European, regional, and affiliate level. So we went through internal interviews and developed a process map on the ASI states. In the second phase, we wanted to make sure that we would focus on the most impactful activities that this new process will bring to us as a large organization. So we executed them, and I'm happy today to present you the learnings from this pilot. And also, we went through a set of recommendations that we are now about to implement. These recommendations are articulated around 5 domains. We look about all the aspects of resources, but also governance, processes, organization, and as well, we took some time to think about technologies, what kind of technological platform we should move to ensure that we will have the best efficient process. This is the first and probably the most important activity the pilot went through. It's about the PICO simulation. We heard already a lot about this new theme. And the point for us is really to ensure the PICOs will be as accurately as possible, with the point of balancing the risk of overdoing it and the risk of missing any critical PICOs. So this idea of false positive and false negative PICOs is of high importance for us. So we know that we cannot miss any important PICO. For that, we started by running an internal PICO survey, applying the UNETA 21 guidance. And for that, we pre-specified the kind of top-down approach, the PICOs. We submitted them to our affiliates teams, and based on their experience and expertise, they commented on that. We went through a joint workshop, actually, where we discussed all the assumptions, and here the team came with a first conclusion that on the disease area that we were studying, 8 different populations, up to 7 comparators and 25 outcomes could be requested by the member states, again as a simulation, leading to already 20 PICOs across the 8 affiliates. From there, we wanted to go through the consolidation of these PICOs. We found that having some external expertise would be of high interest, so some countries went out and asked some clinicians and external HTA experts about the validity of our assumptions. We were able as well to use the UNETA 21 practical guidance to help the consolidation. And in the final phase of this PICO consolidation, we developed a kind of ranking tool to understand the likelihood for the PICO to be requested by the member states. The second big activity was about the identification of the evidence gap for the final consolidated PICOs. Here we applied this likelihood determination, so using our criteria of categorizing our PICOs and consolidated them. We came down to 13 PICOs, with 4 of them having a high likelihood to be requested, 2 with a medium status, and 7 with low. Arbitrarily, we decided that all the high and the medium will potentially go into our EU HTA dossier, while the 7 will be addressed in national dossiers. The reason for having still quite a high number of PICOs was coming from 3 main drivers. The first one is due to the discrepancy in the guidelines. So we had a lot of discussion comparing all the national guidelines through our affiliate teams and the European and international ones. We had also discrepancy coming from risk stratification and patient characteristics that make, again, the number of PICOs pretty high. From there, all 13 PICOs, whatever their priorities, were assigned with a status. We look into the evidence gap, obviously, and we assign a status with a certain of them being planned compared to our evidence planning, obviously, evidence generation planning. Some of them had the status of being planned, not planned, planned but with some uncertainty, and some of them we understood that we won't be able to address the evidence requirements for that. But for all the 13 PICOs, we developed a set of recommendations to ensure that we will have a full understanding of, again, the limitations and the way we should consider them for our evidence planning. And the last, but also very important activities we went through was actually the GCA, the EU dossier development. The first objective was for the team to familiarize themselves with all the aspects of the GCA dossier. So we went through an in-depth review of the GCA template. And also we compared with the key European dossier template with the German and the French one to understand the similarities and differences. We also discuss, as a global company, we first develop one of our core deliverables, which is about the global core value dossier, and we discuss how the 2 documents will interplay and how much we would be able to develop them in parallel and find synergies between this global core value dossier, which aims at addressing all the countries, all the regions worldwide, and this specific European document, European dossier. And the last discussion point we had during this GCA dossier development was about the information and the confidentiality aspect of the information that we will put in our dossier. This slide summarized the key learnings from our pilot. the team acknowledged the high complexity and technicality of the GCA dossier. We have actually we are anticipating significant additional data analysis and incremental resources. We have estimated them using some assumptions. Couple of them. One of them is about the fact that we know that we have to start earlier, due to this EU dossier, earlier than the way we work today for preparing for the national dossiers. We also understand that we will have more set of analyses to go with the multiplicity of PICOs that will lead to more ITC, more NMA. We will have as well to take into account all the unplanned PICOs and some element of health economics modeling updates. Last but not least, as an assumption, we anticipate that following the GCA submission, we will still, as a large company, have to also support all the national dossiers. They are still running, either for the benefit of the European countries, but also outside Europe. We discussed very much as well the strategic planning, the importance of early identification of the PICOs, early review, strategic review, and approval. And also, the team discussed what kind of impact the new process will have on our design of our global clinical development program. Definitely, the European team will have a stronger voice, but in large companies like Abbvie, trade-offs have still to be made, so we won't be able to bring all the 27 member state requirements in our clinical program. We put in place, we have now a clear visibility on all the PICO anticipation mechanisms, but with still some limitations in terms of flexibility. Today, more or less, it takes for us 1 year to prepare a dossier, considering more or less one PICO. Now with multiple PICOs, that will require much more time. We see a lot of value on early discussions, as I mentioned, with also the value of having early scientific consultation and also having a good understanding on the clinical guidelines. So I mentioned this need to have a process that balance flexibility and predictability. That's our call of action, more or less, where we see that very importantly with all the PICOs that we are anticipating, we need to manage situation where we won't have always head-to-head evidence. We see the value for indirect treatment comparison. It helps to reduce uncertainties, and not just for rare disease or single-arm trial, and basically only a European harmonized PICO will influence clinical development decisions. We see the value for having a much more predictable and systematic consultation process, so all stakeholders should be involved very much early. The availability as well of experts is of high importance for both joint scientific consultation and GCAs. We see today, and we have experimented actually by going through this pilot, that the current framework is very tight and pretty difficult to run through, and we are looking for a better balance for especially having more time dedicated to the development of the dossier, at least for the developer. Also, we see the need for more clarity and guarantees when it comes to handling of confidential information. Here as well, we believe that if we don't have this clarity, we may not be able to provide the best available data and the most up-to-date information to the system. Finally, and very importantly, we expect the adaptation of the national decision procedure to be ready to the new framework and fully adapted. And we expect to have the effective use of the European GCA that will ensure the success of the whole process for all participants. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention.